Part 1, The Perfect Life, or so it seemed. Athena had it all. Or at least, that's what everyone around her believed. A luxurious penthouse in Manhattan, an envious career in high-end fashion, and a husband, Daniel, who seemed like the perfect man. They had been married for 6 years, and from the outside, their love looked unbreakable. But perfection is often a carefully curated illusion. Lately, Athena had noticed subtle changes in Daniel. He used to be the man who would rush home just to have dinner with her, but now, his late nights at the office became more frequent. His phone, once left carelessly on the kitchen counter, was now always face down. And then there was the scent, a faint, unfamiliar perfume lingering on his clothes, one she never wore. At first, she ignored it. After all, Daniel was a high-powered attorney. Late nights and stress came with the job. But deep inside, a quiet, unsettling voice whispered doubts she couldn't silence. Then came the moment that shattered the illusion completely. One evening, Athena had a dinner reservation at their favorite restaurant. She had planned it as a surprise, an attempt to rekindle the spark that seemed to be dimming. Excited, she called Daniel's office, but his assistant hesitated before responding. "He left early today," she said cautiously. A cold, sinking feeling settled in Athena's stomach. "Left? Where did he go?" she asked. I'm not sure," the assistant stammered. "He didn't say." Athena hung up, her mind racing. Daniel had told her he'd be working late. That was the moment she knew. Something was wrong. She grabbed her car keys and decided to follow the whispers of her intuition. And what she discovered that night would change her forever. Part 2, The Unforgivable Truth. Athena's hands gripped the steering wheel so tightly that her knuckles turned white. Her heart pounded against her ribs as she navigated the dark streets of Manhattan, following a gut instinct she wished she could ignore. Daniel had never lied to her before. At least, that's what she had believed. But the unease gnawing at her insides told her otherwise. She checked the GPS tracker she had secretly installed on his phone months ago, not because she was paranoid, but because she had always believed in being one step ahead. A precaution, she told herself back then. A precaution that was now leading her straight to the truth. The blinking dot on the screen was not at his office. It wasn't anywhere near it. Instead, it led her to a quiet, dimly lit street lined with high-end brownstone apartments. Her throat tightened as she pulled up a few houses away from the location marker. The building was elegant, discreet, a perfect hideaway. She killed the engine and sat in silence. The street was eerily quiet, except for the occasional distant hum of the city. Then she saw him. Daniel stepped out of a sleek black car, adjusting his suit jacket as he walked toward the entrance of the building. But he wasn't alone. A woman followed behind him. She was young, mid-20s at most, tall, with long, wavy brunette hair cascading down her back. She wore a red silk dress that clung to her curves, exuding a confidence that made Athena's stomach churn. Athena's breath hitched. Every fiber of her being screamed for this to be a misunderstanding. Maybe she was a colleague. A client. Maybe. Then, Daniel reached for the woman's hand. And she let him. Their fingers intertwined so naturally, so intimately, that it shattered any last hope Athena had. A sickening heat flushed through her body as she watched her husband, her Daniel, lean in and press a kiss to the woman's temple before guiding her inside. The weight of the moment crushed her. Tears blurred her vision, but she refused to let them fall. This wasn't the time for weakness. This was war. She took a deep breath, wiped at her eyes, and reached for the car door handle. Athena wasn't going to let this slide. Not this time. Part 3, The Reckoning. Athena wasn't the kind of woman to run away from the truth. She had built her career, her life, her very existence on being fearless. And now, as she sat in her car watching her husband disappear inside another woman's apartment, something inside her snapped. She had two choices. Leave, Pretend she never saw this, and slowly let the lie consume her. Or face him. Expose him. Destroy him. The decision was made before she even realized she had stepped out of the car. Her designer heels clicked against the pavement as she walked toward the building, her pulse hammering like war drums. She wasn't reckless, she was calculated. If she was going to confront Daniel, she was going to do it on her terms. Athena reached the front entrance, pressed the call button, and waited. A few seconds passed before a voice crackled through the speaker. "Hello?" It was the woman. Athena smirked. "Perfect. Delivery for Daniel Carter," she said smoothly, masking the venom in her voice. There was a pause. Then, the door buzzed open. Amateur. Athena stepped inside, climbing the stairs two at a time, her heart pounding harder with every step. When she reached the apartment door, she didn't hesitate, she knocked once. Muffled voices. Footsteps. Then, the door swung open, revealing her. Up close, the woman looked even younger. Mid-20s, flawless skin, big brown eyes that widened in confusion. She wore Daniel's dress shirt, buttoned sloppily over her barely there lingerie. Athena smiled. "Can I help you?" the woman asked hesitantly. Athena tilted her head. "I think you already have." The woman blinked. And then, behind her, Daniel appeared, his hair slightly messy, his shirt half unbuttoned. The moment his eyes landed on Athena, the color drained from his face. "Athena," he stammered. Silence stretched between them, thick and suffocating. Athena crossed her arms, cool and composed, though her blood boiled beneath the surface. "You know," she said, her voice dangerously calm, "I was going to surprise you with dinner tonight. But I see you already had plans." The woman turned to Daniel, realization dawning in her eyes. "Wait, she's your?" "My wife," Athena finished for her, her voice like ice. The woman stumbled back, horror flickering across her face. I didn't know." Athena ignored her, stepping toward Daniel. He swallowed hard, like a man facing his own execution. "You lied to me," she whispered. "All those late nights. All those excuses. And for what?" "Her?" She gestured at the woman with disgust. Daniel ran a hand through his hair, his jaw clenching. "Athena, listen, it's not what it looks like." Athena let out a short, humorless laugh. "Oh. Because it looks like my husband is standing in another woman's apartment, half-dressed, after telling me he was working late." Daniel opened his mouth, but no words came out. She took a deep breath. This was it. The moment she decided whether to burn everything down or walk away with her dignity intact. Then, an idea struck her, a much better idea. She wouldn't just leave. She would make sure Daniel lost more than just her. Athena pulled out her phone and, in one swift motion, snapped a picture of him and his mistress. Daniel's eyes went wide. "Athena, don't." But she already was. She sent the photo to a group chat labeled Carter Family and Friends and watched as the message delivered. A moment later, the group chat exploded with messages. Daniel visibly paled. "Athena, what the hell did you just do?" She smiled sweetly. "I just made sure everyone sees you for exactly what you are." Daniel exhaled sharply, panic flashing in his eyes. "We can fix this. Please, Athena, let's talk." She stepped back, eyes cold. "You made your choice the moment you stepped through this door, Daniel. Now you get to live with it." With that, she turned on her heel and walked away, leaving Daniel and his world crumbling behind her. Epilogue: some doors should never be opened. 1 week later, Daniel's life was in ruins. His family had disowned him. His firm, built on the image of being a devoted husband and ethical lawyer, had quietly pushed him out. And his mistress? She disappeared the moment she realized he was nothing without Athena. Athena, on the other hand, thrived. She wasn't broken. She wasn't weak. She was reborn. As she sipped her wine on the balcony of her penthouse, staring at the Manhattan skyline, she allowed herself a small, satisfied smile. Daniel had opened the wrong door that night. And his life was never the same again. The end.